Have you ever been asked to let go of something you love? Not just misplace it, but to willingly, painfully, hand it over. Maybe it was a dream job that vanished, a relationship that ended, or a financial security that crumbled, a health diagnosis that changed everything. In those moments, it feels like more than just bad luck. It can feel like a test, a confusing, heartbreaking test from the very God you trust. Today, we're going to climb a mountain together. Not a physical one, but perhaps the most famous mountain in the history of faith, Mount Moriah. We'll look at a story that is ancient, jarring, and often misunderstood, the story of God asking Abraham to sacrifice his son, Isaac. And in this story, we'll find not a God of cruelty, but a blueprint for what happens when our faith is tested at its absolute core. Let's set the scene. Abraham, the father of faith, the man who left everything because God promised him a legacy, a future, a son. For decades, he and Sarah waited. The promise seemed impossible. Then, miraculously, in their old age, Isaac, whose name means laughter, is born. He is the living, breathing proof of God's covenant. He is the answer to every prayer. Then comes Genesis 22. Take your son, your only son, Isaac, whom you love, and sacrifice him. Pause there. Feel the seismic shock of that command. This isn't just a test of obedience. It's a test that seems to contradict God's very character. The God of life asking for a death, the God of promise asking for the destruction of the promise itself. This is the first lesson of the test. The test often targets what you hold most sacred. It's not about your inconveniences. It's about your idols. It's not about what you have, but what you have placed your ultimate trust in. For Abraham, had Isaac become more precious than the God who gave him? Did he love the gift more than the giver? What is your Isaac? That thing, that person, that dream, that position you have wrapped your identity and security around. The test often begins when we are asked, do you trust me, even with this? Abraham's response is stunning. Early the next morning, Abraham got up. No recorded argument, no bargaining, just a heavy, resolute obedience. He splits the wood. He journeys for 3 agonizing days. 3 days with the sound of the donkey's steps, the crackle of the firewood, and the voice of his beloved son. Isaac asks the heartbreaking question, Father, the fire and wood are here, but where is the lamb for the burnt offering? Abraham's reply is one of the greatest statements of faith in all of Scripture. God himself will provide the lamb. He didn't know how, but he knew who. This is the second lesson. Obedience in the test is fueled by what you believe about God's character. Abraham had a history with God. He knew God was faithful, even when the command made no sense. His obedience wasn't blind. It was rooted in a person, a God he had walked with for decades. When you're on your own 3-day journey, your mind racing with why and how, faith asks a different question. Who? Who is God? Is he good? Is he faithful? Has he failed me before? Your obedience in the darkness is built on what you learned about him in the light. They reach the mountaintop. Abraham builds the altar. He binds his son. He raises the knife. And then, the voice of the angel of the Lord, Abraham. Abraham, do not lay a hand on the boy. Now I know that you fear God. Abraham looks up, a ram caught in a thicket, a substitute, a provision. He names the place Yahweh-Yir. The Lord will provide. Here's the monumental, life-altering third lesson. The purpose of the test is not to take something from you, but to reveal something to you. It revealed to Abraham the depth of his own faith. It revealed to him a new name of God, Jehovah-Jireh, the God who provides. And it was a prophetic picture a substitute would one day die so that we, the children of promise, might live. God never wanted Isaac's life. He wanted Abraham's heart, completely, unreservedly. The test was the tool to get there. Your test, your Moriah, is not a divine setup for failure or heartbreak. It is the severe mercy of God, asking, am I enough? Do you trust my heart, even when you cannot see my hand? The provision may not come until the very last moment. It may not look like what you imagined, but the God who tests is also the God who provides. The story doesn't end with the ram. Abraham and Isaac walk down the mountain together, but they are not the same. Abraham's faith is no longer theoretical. It is mountaintop, knife-edge proven. Isaac has seen his father's terrifying faith and God's miraculous provision. This is the final lesson. You never come down from the mountain the same way you went up. You come down with a testimony. Yahweh Yir is not a theory, it's your address. You now know what you only believed before. Your seasons of testing are not your destination. They are the forge that shapes your identity. They prepare you to hold the promises of God with open hands, in humble trust, knowing that the giver is forever greater than the gift. So today, if you are on that 3-day journey, heavy with a burden you don't understand, first, identify your Isaac. What is God asking you to trust him with? Second, remember the who. Recall the character of God from your own history and his word. He is good, he is faithful. Third, anticipate the provision. Keep your eyes open. It may be at the very last second. It may be a ram, not a rescue from the journey. And fourth, prepare for a new name. You will know him as provider, comforter, sustainer in a way you never could have without this test. You are not alone on that mountain. The same God who walked with Abraham walks with you. And the test, as painful as it is an invitation to a faith that is not fragile, but forged. Not shaky, but unshakable. Walk on, climb, trust. Watch for the ram. Thank you for watching, and be sure to subscribe for more encouragement.